Hey guys, I've been juggling some video ideas for a bit, but then I recognized that in my videos, I've been using IPA, the letters and words between the slashes, and that not everyone is exactly capable of reading that, so this video will teach y'all how to read the charts that put IPA in place. I could just run through the symbols, but now linguists have helpfully organized the characters into charts for easier usage. First off, what's this IPA I've been talking about, and where did it come from? Like I said, it's the characters and words that I've been putting between slashes as pronunciation guides. IPA, or the International Phonetic Alphabet, was created originally in 1888 by French linguist Paul Passy, with idea contributions from Danish linguists Otto Jespersen and with collaboration from English phoneticians Alexander John Ellis and Henry Sweet. The alphabet was originally serviceable only in English and French, but has since expanded to include every language that we know of. So what's it like? Well, it's based on the Latin script, and as the ultimate phonetic alphabet, it has one character per phoneme, and there's a character for every sound made in every language. A lot of the characters are instantly recognizable for what they are. However, some may deceive you depending on your first language, because the linguist creating the chart shows popular demand for the letter's sounds. The two main examples are how this symbol isn't r but r, based on how most of the world reads it, and how this isn't j but y, because of its consistency of usage for y in Germanic languages outside of English. Moving on, the vast majority of IPA characters are Latin-based so that they could be written using printing presses and or typewriters that already existed. Many of them have notches added to them in various places or get turned upside down. However, not all symbols are necessarily Latin anymore. You can't capitalize an IPA or you would change the meaning of the whole phoneme. Along with regular symbols, superscripts further describe how the word is pronounced. For consonants, a superscript H means that the consonant is aspirated, some air gets released with it. A superscript W means that it's labialized, or that a W comes after it, and a superscript J, remember what phoneme it represents in IPA, means that a consonant is palatalized, followed by the Y sound. Those aren't the only symbols for consonant modification, but they're the ones you'll run into the most. For vowels, a tilde above one makes the vowel nasal, a colon after it means that the speaker's lips close over the duration of the sound, and this apostrophe-looking thing that goes to the upper left side of a vowel indicates where in the word the stress is, while it's found on the lower left side of vowels with secondary stress. Tones are accounted for using these phonetic drawings following the vowel whenever they're needed for a tonal language. A higher horizontal line means higher notes. Of course, there are many more symbols for vowels too, but you can learn whichever ones you need for the languages you're learning on your own time. Surrounding IPA symbols or sentences are either brackets or slashes. Which of those you use depends on whether you're using narrow transcription or broad transcription. The difference is that in narrow transcription, with the brackets, you have to use the exact symbol for every phoneme regardless of whether native speakers differentiate between that phoneme and a similar one, while in broad transcription, with the slashes, symbols can be used that represent how native speakers see the sound. The main example of this is how the English r sound isn't the same as the rolled r, but in broad transcription, the r sound can be written with a regular r, since there's no r in English, while in narrow transcription you must use the upside down r. Personally, I use the slashes because they look better and give more flexibility in case I use a symbol that someone else disagrees with. Now I will actually do what the title of this video implies and teach y'all how to read these charts. There are two separate charts, one for vowels and one for consonants. I'll start with the vowel chart because it's the less interesting one in my opinion. Basically, the vowel chart is supposed to represent a person's mouth when they face to the left. The position of the symbol on the IPA vowel chart represents where the tongue is in the mouth when saying the vowel. Further right on the chart means that the tongue is further back in the mouth, and lower means, well, lower. When two symbols are right next to each other on the chart, the one on the left is said with lips unrounded or wide, and the one on the right is rounded, like and here. Now, getting vowels precise is a tricky business as vowels are almost never exactly the same among different languages. Remember my Hebrew video? In that video, I used U to represent the sound, but only because it's the closest symbol I can get. The Hebrew U isn't exactly the same as the Spanish U. In Hebrew, the lips remain fairly unrounded for all vowels, including U, which is what makes that vowel fundamentally different from U. That being said, in the IPA phonetics app, I did try clicking on the unrounded counterpart of the back-closed rounded vowel U, the back-closed unrounded U. To my dismay, it sounded nothing like the Hebrew vowel, as that phoneme is pronounced more like some sort of deep-tongued I sound. On the other end of IPA vowel peculiarity, some people think that the English A sound, as in dog, is identical to the Spanish A, as in agua. As you just saw, there are different IPA symbols for those vowel sounds because they are, in fact, different. Vowels are so hard to get exactly right in foreign languages, and the IPA chart is somewhat helpful at figuring them out, but you still gotta listen to samples from the specific target language. Now I'll explain how to read the consonant chart, and there will be a lot of phonetics words in this that I use to talk about sounds in my videos. When linguists talk about consonants, they use a three-part name. The first word is either unvoiced or voiced. When two phonemes are on the chart at the same coordinates, the symbol on the left is the unvoiced consonant, and the symbol on the right is the voiced consonant. The voiced property distinguishes two phonemes that would otherwise be identical. Examples of consonant pairs like this are p and b, s and z, f and v, ch and j, and ch and r. The second word in a consonant phoneme's trinomial nomenclature refers to the category words at the top of the chart, referring to the columns below them. That's the anatomy of the phoneme, in other words, what part of your mouth is interacting with what other part of your mouth to make the sound. Like the vowel chart, the anatomy gets deeper in your mouth the further right on the chart the symbol is. Starting from the left, the first anatomical category is bilabial. These phonemes, as their name implies, are made by the two lips. Examples of these are b, p, m, and w. Next over are the labiodental consonants. These sounds are made by the upper teeth and lower lip, such as f and v. The next over is the exact opposite, as the dentolabial consonants are made with the upper lip and lower teeth. Next is another odd category, the lingualabial consonants, where the tongue is inserted between the lips. The next category is the dental consonants, which are made with the tongue between the teeth. This category is still rare, but it's included in English in the forms of th and v. Then we go from a rare category to one of the most common anatomical categories, the alveolar consonants. This isn't a common word, so basically in these phonemes, the tongue works with the alveolus, which is the ridge just behind your upper teeth. It seems to be pretty useful at producing language, and some alveolar consonants are s, z, t, d, l, n, and r. Then there's the also common post-alveolar consonants, which are produced just behind the alveolus. Some of these are sh, j, ch, j, and l. The sound in American English, Russian, and Portuguese. Yes, it's different from la. The retroflex sounds are also produced in this area of the mouth, but the tongue is rolled back so that it's actually the tongue's underside that produces the consonant. I'd suggest just trying to say a t sound in retroflex now to see what it's like. Slightly behind that are the alveolopalatal consonants, which are made between the alveolus and the palate, the highest point of the roof of the mouth, found in the center area. Alveolopalatal sounds are rather rare, but the palatal consonants are a bit more common, and I've already explained the palate. The most common sound from here is the y sound, that is the source of palatalization. After that are the even more common velar sounds made by the tongue in the velus, which is the furthest back hard part of the roof of the mouth that should tickle a bit now as you habitually find it with your tongue. Sounds made here include k, g, ng, and ch. Behind that are the uvular consonants, which are made in the uvula, the soft kind of spherical back part of the mouth with the dangly bit that acts as a doorway to the throat. No English consonants are uvular, but they're found commonly in other languages, and they include k, g, ch, r, and r. Then behind that, there's the pharyngeal consonants, which I can't even understand how they work. But just know that the pharynx is the tube that connects the nose to the mouth and esophagus. Finally, for consonant anatomy are the glottal consonants. The glottis is a triangular section of the windpipe that has two white bars that interact with each other on glottal consonants, just in front of the vocal cords. The two important phonemes in this category are h and along with the voice counterpart of h. The last word of a consonant's trinomial nomenclature is its style, found on the left side of the chart and changing based on row. Unlike the anatomical categories, there's no reason for the style categories to be in the order that they are, it just seems to have been arbitrarily decided. I will give them in the order that IPA Phonetics does it, so if you go to Wikipedia after watching this video, be aware that they won't be in the same order. If you can't tell what style is yet, you're about to deductively learn it from what I explain. The first style of consonants is the plosives, also known as stop consonants. These consonants are characterized by being instantaneous in that you can't continue them for more than that instant, or it would be a different phoneme. English has 6 plosives. The next style down is the nasals. These sounds are made primarily with the nose, hence their name, and 2 of them, m and n, are the most common cross-linguistic consonants, meaning they can be found in almost every language. The other well-known nasal is ng. Given the nature of this style, they're almost always voiced, but some languages do have unvoiced nasals. Next up are the trills. Trills in linguistics are rapidly repeated hits. Those of y'all who do band will be able to relate, but it's more like a drum roll than a flute trill. Everyone's favorite trill, the one that initiates many hip-hop songs, is but there's also and drrr. Then we have the taps or flaps, which exist in English, believe it or not. You can think of these as if the affected part of your mouth was a fly, and your tongue was a chameleon tongue grabbing it in one flick. Taps are found as the T in the word water, so say that word and feel your alveolus become prey to the tip of your tongue. I just ruined water for y'all. That phoneme can also be thought of as a trill with just one hit. Next down are the fricatives. It's the most versatile style of consonant, and they're made with friction, which is why they're called fricatives. These sounds include f, v, th, the, s, z, sh, zh, h, ch, and r. Then there's the lateral fricatives, in which the air comes out the sides of the mouth, which is what the lateral means. Remember that for future styles that also use that word. Luckily, they're nowhere near as common as the regular fricatives. The next category is the approximates, also known as liquids or semivowels. They're made by whatever anatomy is involved going close to contact, but not quite getting there, hence the first name I gave. The three big phonemes here are w, r, and y. One would think that l and l would also be approximates, but they're actually lateral approximates, the next style down. I used to think this classification difference was stupid and unnecessary until I realized that otherwise you couldn't tell the difference between r and l. Next down are the affricates, which are made by a plosive and fricative working together, and that's how they're written, so that they can be read as either a plosive and a fricative, or as an affricate. Affricates include ch, j, t, and z. Then, because lateral fricatives exist, there's also lateral affricates, and that's really all you need to know about them, as they're very rare. For the last three consonant styles, we get into the non-pulmonic consonants. All the styles you've heard about to this point are pulmonic, meaning that the lungs are required to produce them. These last three categories are non-pulmonic, so no lungs are needed. I can't give good examples of these, as every time I try I burp and or yawn due to the excess air in my system that my lungs think shouldn't be there, plus I don't speak any languages with non-pulmonic consonants, so I'll let the IPA Phonetics app give the examples. First off, the implosive consonants are made by moving whatever mouth parts are used inward. Next, ejective sounds are basically plosives, but non-pulmonic with a pause after them, and they're written as regular phonemes with an apostrophe afterwards. Finally, we have the rather famous phonetic phenomenon out of southern Africa, the clicks. That closes out the styles. To close out the video, the how and why of IPA. Whenever I learn a new language, I start by learning how to read it, since I'm a text learner and I can't do anything with the language unless I know how the words are pronounced. No matter what source you use for this, they're going to use IPA to tell you exactly how any letter or letter combination is pronounced, although audio examples clearly make it easier to get the ins and outs of the phoneme. What I do is, I go to the page of the script of the target language on Omniglot to see how each letter is pronounced, and if there's an IPA symbol that I don't know, then I go to an app I have called IPA Phonetics, find that symbol, and click on it, and it'll play both the audio of that sound and a video showing a mouth saying it. In addition to this, if you've ever been on Wikipedia, you'll know there's some really technical stuff in every article on there, including the ones about languages. If they're talking about sound shifts, listing the phonemes used, or even just showing how to pronounce someone's name in the intro, there will be IPA there that would be useful to know. This is just my take on what IPA is and why it's useful. Thanks for watching.